attack on January the 6th. There must be truth and accountability if we are going to move forward, heal, and bring our country together once again. Sweeping something as momentous as this under the rug brings no healing whatsoever.
Susan Sullivan is a professor of law and politics at Temple University. She joins me from Philadelphia. Professor, Trump's legal team argues the Senate doesn't have authority to try Trump based on Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution, which states that an officer who is impeached and convicted shall be removed from office. And since Trump is a former president, he can't be removed. So what's your take on that?
Well, it's interesting because this has never been considered before. So when you look at the Constitution, it doesn't say that that has to happen while he's still in office. But it suggests that the whole point of this impeachment is to get somebody out of office. And he is, of course, already out of office. The Democrats want to go ahead with this because in the unlikely event that they are able to convict him, they can then go to the next step and take a vote so that he can never run for office again, could never be voted president again, and he's indicated he would like to run again in 4 years. So, nobody has actually ruled on that. If, again, in the unlikely event that he is convicted, that will go to the United States Supreme Court. They will then decide what that provision in the Constitution means. And we should keep in mind that there are 3 new justices on the Supreme Court who were appointed by President Trump, who are going to read that Constitution very conservatively. They're not inclined to expand its view. And if you read that provision very conservatively, very strictly, it does tend to suggest that the purpose of this is to remove somebody from office. And so once they're gone, it is no longer applicable.
You say the unlikely event of Trump being convicted. How do you think this will all play out? If Trump is acquitted for a second time, I mean, how does that look for him as well as for the Democrats who've now impeached a president twice and lost, or potentially lost twice in the Senate trial?
Well, I think it's almost inevitable that he is going to be acquitted as he was in the last impeachment. That, I imagine, Donald Trump will use to fuel this idea that this has all been a witch hunt, that the Democrats have had it in for him from day one. So that will fuel that fire, and he will no doubt use that should he attempt to arouse a base again and run in 4 years. It is a little bit of political theater. It is almost a foregone conclusion that he won't be convicted because 17 of the 50 Republicans would have to switch sides in order to convict him, and that seems highly unlikely at this juncture.
Right, it certainly does seem like a big uphill battle there. But I'm wondering about Trump's January 6th speech, which Democrats say is what fueled the riot and insurrection on the Capitol. Do you think Trump is protected by the First Amendment when he questioned the election results and told his supporters to, quote, fight like hell? Or is there actually a case that this could have, in fact, incited the riot?
I think it's highly unlikely that he could use the First Amendment as the defense. The First Amendment is sacrosanct in American culture and in American law, and it really does protect in a very strong manner, in a very strong way, freedom of speech. But it's a balance. Every constitutional right is a balance. The quintessential example is if you're in a crowded theater, you don't have the right to yell fire and create a stampede. So every constitutional right, including the First Amendment, is balanced. So the question is going to be, can you create this environment of disturbance and discontent and then say the things that Trump said on January the 6th and put all that into context? And can you engage in that kind of behavior and those kinds of expressions and use that language and then hide behind the First Amendment? It would seem to be unlikely that you could use that language that is tantamount to encouraging, provoking an insurrection, and then claim that that is your right to free speech. So I think he will make that argument. I don't think that's going to be a successful argument for him.
All right. Well, we are certainly going to have to wait and see. Susan Sullivan, thank you so much for your time.